called Chat, and it's 6 minutes, but I'm only going to read you the last bit of it because it's actually a lead into the poem that actually follows. Good to read that you are writing. Any particular subject? How many lines in are you? 0. Well, let me throw some water on my face, then we shall seek out inspiration. That is, if you want company, of course, on your poetic journey. That's better. If you could see me, you'd think I was an owl blinking the water from my eyes. Now if you stretch us to chase the sleep away out of my bones and get the blood running. So, what mood of poems are you trying to write? Love and madness. That's an enticing subject. Are you leaning towards someone who is madly in love? Or who goes mad after losing the love of their life? Or someone who snaps and then destroys the love of others? Or someone who keeps her lover chained in the closet so he never cheats on her? What? You want me to add a light bulb to the mix? Now you're in my wheelhouse. How does this sound? They were always at odds, in a cute give and take way. She had grown up in a conservative household where love and sex was seldom whispered about, passion never. Which leads us to the longest poem of the night, which is actually 6 minutes. And I know, Emma, you hate long poems. So you can go to sleep now, but everyone else will pay attention. And Raj, thank you for your comments on this poem because it really made it sing. So you know what to expect. Yes. This is called Half Light, and it's in 3 parts. The first one is Sight. She had grown up in a conservative household where love and sex were seldom whispered, passion never. He was a man believing in sight, in seeing his lover in all of her glory. When her Honduran eyes met his Nordic blues, they transported her to a quiet atoll just off the coast of her native land. His words were the green flash on the horizon that foretold the coming of a hurricane. His breathing, the rising riptides. He was the force of nature through which she discovered that her body could speak, that it could yearn and twist even as her mind rebelled, wanting to scurry backwards into her cloistered room of rainbows and unicorns, dolphins and howler monkeys. From this hidden space, her mind peeked outward. She pleaded with him not to touch her or even speak during their first night alone, explaining he could watch her in silence. He could caress her with his eyes. In her grandmother's rocking chair, she wondered if this ritual of watch and watcher had been played out by mother and grandmother. Dressed in the thinnest of white linen, she discovered herself quickly aroused by the gentleness of fabric which concealed her body. Her open window invited moon and sea breeze to enter hand in hand, accompanied by the sounds of forest and city, merging into a singular melody. He curled up upon her bed, his eyes never leaving her curves. The moon rose, illuminating the contours of breast and belly. The quieter he became, the deeper her breathing. The heavier her breath, the greater her perspiration. The more she perspired, the quicker her breathing, the greater the friction of fabric upon flesh. Quakes and quivers lanced through her body, which hardened nipples that extended towards the moon. The more defined her nipples, the greater her carnal hunger, the deeper her thoughts of hell and damnation. She struggled to quiet her twitching muscles that brailed out to her their need for him to enter. Thump, thump, thump. Her heartbeat caught. Thump, thump, thump. A large moth attempts to penetrate the moon's reflective light. Thump, 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 thump. She tried and failed to quell her hands reaching beneath her thin fabric to satisfy her. She wanted to call out to him. Thump, 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 thump. Her muscles tightened and released. She was puzzled by the musky scent, believing it should be the flavor of pomegranates, papayas, and mangoes. Shadow. He was a lover of light and shadow, a visual explorer. He was a shadow chaser. His eyes eager to trace the contours of her breast and belly, the small of her neck and dimpled thigh, the curve of her ankle and misshapen small toe. His eyes maneuvered with the delicate yet deliberate motivations of a tango dancer. He feasted as her expressions shuffled, from peaceful to aroused to inflamed. His ears cocked as if he were an owl, hungry to absorb her slightest moans or cry, but knowing she had always muted her outcries of exaltation, just in case her God might be listening. He loved to see her mouth relax, witness her eyes transform from hallelujah reverence to sinful reproach. He wanted to whisper away her guilt as he watched her shadowed body slip into sleep, a half-shared prayer perched upon her lips, rosary beads wrapped around her fingers. Communion. The first time they made love, she turned the lights out, not wanting to see his nakedness swallow her own. Rooted within her mind, nakedness and fornication outside of union was a sin that yoked and ignited her passion. The first time she filled her mouth with him, she thought of her first communion. Without realizing it, she crossed herself as she swallowed. The first night she allowed him to taste her, her mother's warning echoed through her mind. She visualized her lover transformed into the chupacabra, its long red tongue finding its way into her, causing her to scream. But her screams were not that of a pig being sucked dry, but of prayers released from their captive cocoon, given wings to ascend to the moon. Throughout that first night of real lovemaking, she lost and found her religion, new prayers formulated upon lips bitten red. In the distance, a coyote answered her call. Okay, you're asleep there, right, Emma? Okay. Another haiku. Free-falling heartbeats silently tumble downward, lamenting shyness.
We don't clap for haikus, people.
Yeah, that was right. You can snap for a haiku. You just can't clap.
You just clapped 575.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, we're kind of on the home stretch here. This is called My Talk of Love is Putting You to Sleep, as read in the voice of him. You ask if I love you. I say the seeds of love are planted. They await germination. They await the heat of your heart. I want to say I would charge windmills with you and for you. But you keep me isolated from your secrets, so I leave the door ajar, just in case. I want to say I am the answer to your prayers. I offer no guarantees. Who's to say that fate has not date stamped us with a short expiration? Separated by 3,000 miles, I watched your words appear on screen. Imagine them emerge from your lips. Your voice full of subtle inflections and lovable tics. I know you bathe within the warmth of my attention, building a plethora of futures within your mind. Most spare us a tragic end that has befallen so many great romances built on quill or pen on paper, or in our case, translations of ones and zeros. I can tell you, in all honesty, that you have been my muse since November. It's your face I fall asleep with each night. Upon awakening, my first thoughts have become your private domain. Yes, the fact of you has physiologically affected my well-being. I welcome your trust, which allows me to walk within your captivated mind, a mind I would willingly explore until our sun expands to engulf the earth. Age has yet to temper my actions or caution. It has stripped me of youthful dexterity. If you smile that smile of a 40s femme fatale, I'd willingly take a road trip to hell and back just to bring you fire to light your cigarette. I know you love to be watched, a quirk I will willingly indulge, but I'm a tactile man, and you have a body worthy of endless exploration. Let me be your Bartholomew Diaz. I will rediscover your Cape of Good Hope as often as you desire. If you tell me to go watch the ocean, but warn me not to get wet, then I'm the wrong man for you. But maybe you need the wrong man to rip away those marionette wires that have tethered you to the minutiae of tradition. Maybe I need to teach you how to play otter, that childhood game which expanded my heart. I'll show you how to belly slide down long, grassy hills during heavy rainstorms, sliding over and over and over again until we become a muddy mess, resembling two beings being birthed from earth. If what I have stated are yardsticks by which love can be measured, then I love you. You have grown silent, and you asked me to tell you a bedtime story, featuring you as the main character. My talk of love must be putting you to sleep. So the next poem is actually called Quiver, a bedtime story, but you'll have to buy the book to read it. So we are nearing the end.
You got your set list back here. We saw what you did.
You almost read it.
It was one that could push me over 30, but I wanted to be under 30, so it was just, yeah, it was there. It was. And if you want, you can also pay me money and I will give you a private reading.
Edgy.
Oh, she is touching herself just like the woman in the poem. Oh, yeah. This is entitled, How Their Quantum Love Story Ends. Earth, number 418, New York City, New York, March 30th, 2027. Their love had reached its bloody end. She had thrusted her grandfather's war-gutting knife through his chest, pierced his heart that struggled to beat one last time. His lips parted, asked her why, but he knew why. She had always been a drama queen who ended things on her own terms. Anyway, for her, divorce had always been too mundane to an exit strategy to ever consider. Earth number 14, New York City, New York, October 13th, 2034. Each lacked the courage to leave, each too bitter to flee a sinking ship, each wanting to make sure that the other one drowned. Earth number 15,233, New York City, New York, January 22nd, 2018. When her lips met the lips of her new lover, she had no idea her ex would be in the park, reading and wallowing in the loss of her. Their shared kiss penetrated with the ease of lead bullets separating flesh from bone. His pain howls emptied Central Park. Police searched for what they believed was a rabid dog in need of being put down. Earth number 792, New York City, New York, February 6, 2019. He stood at ocean's edge, listening to Atlantic's angry roar. Too numb to notice, his tear-streaked face had turned to ice as he chanted his song of death. He wished he could curse her God for stealing their daughter's breath at birth, for soaking his shoes in his wife's blood. Complications, the doctor repeated, as if he were repeating a litany during prayer, as if these words would give him solace. Earth number 418, Bellingham, Washington, May 3rd, 2077. He had always known she would be the first to pass, surrounded by their children and grandchildren, who could still bring that twinkle of mirth into her eyes, that glint which telegraphed a private message to him: I am the one you have been seeking. People laughed when we married, me in my 50s and you trailing by 20 years. We last laughed. Celebrating 60 years last month. Now I hold your hand, tell you it's all right. You've earned your rest. One poem left, then a haiku, and a rambling writing. The cost of their first encounter. The compulsion of never allowing a scab to heal returns him each morning to this place of their first encounter, near the solitary birch. It is here where he first stumbled upon her. Her eyes shuttered to hide tears, while she stood with the quietness of a statue waiting for the end of eternity. Her memory tugs at the tip of his spine. His throat grows parched. Tumbleweeds could roll from his mouth and not be thought unexpected. If questioned at gunpoint, he could no longer swear to her existence. He even doubted his memory of her cinnamon scent. One red petal falls, first drop of floral blood spilt, fate's first bloodletting. And a stanza I always liked, but it just did not work in the poem it was in. She named the falcon that landed in her yard ill omen. He called it his spirit animal, his visitation. She cheered when the neighbor's cat got lucky, when it seized the falcon by its neck until dead. Thank you.